Hello everyone, so welcome to the walkthrough for Laguna Seca. So we'll do the same thing that we did for the first round this season. I'm gonna use the replay of the lap that I did, so we'll go watch the full lap from the inside, then go from the outside, and then we'll go corner by corner and gonna try to give you as many tips as possible for each corner, give you some braking reference that we will be able to try for your car, but as I said, it's a reference, so it's something to place for you. It could change. Those braking reference could change from car to car, from what field of view are you using. So it's just something for you to work on, so you have at least something to try. So let's start with the onboard lap. Stop by. It's not that lap. Alright, then we'll watch the same lap from the outside. Now take a closer look to the line that it will take, and also take a look at the throttle brake input for this lap. Alright, so that was a 121.7. It was done on hot lap mode in the ACC with 20 degrees Celsius, so don't expect those time at 30 degrees on also practice, just because it's hotter. The motor will not run as, you'll not get as much speed on the straight, so the motor will run a little bit weaker. But
Can I ask the guys one question first, Michael?
Yeah.
What do you guys notice about how he drives this entire track most? What is the most obvious thing that you can hear and see from this position?
One thing, when he goes out at corners, I notice he's in a higher gear, so he doesn't spin out.
Not necessarily.
I hear tire noises.
We're getting close, Carter. Try again. He uses all of the curbs everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
He's using the widest entry for every corner possible, and he uses the widest exit possible. Using the edges of the tracks here is very, very important, just like last week. Last week we were running so far over that you were leaving your inside tires just inside the white line. Here, it's very important also, but you have to be more careful because the track is so much higher above the grass and the sand. He's actually made the track a whole lot wider by using the edges of the track.
Yeah, and I'll do that for quali, but for race, I'll back up everything a bit. Just so I don't touch the sand and spin me, because I'll show you something for corkscrew on this lap. It's still my best lap, but I did a mistake. It was not a mistake on corkscrew, but I brake a tiny bit too late, and I'll show you after, and I'll show you another lap where because there's something to do with the brake. When we get there, I'll show you. So for around the track, the braking reference are pretty good, like we have for last week. So it shouldn't be too hard for you to find a good reference on the track. There's plenty of places. The hardest one probably the last corner. So first corner, as you can see from the outside, I'm already on the brake. If I go from the inside, I'll just back up a tiny bit. So McLaren doesn't seem to have brake for turn one here. I have to brake so much earlier than other car that I brake, but what I'm using is the beginning. It's when I see I getting closer to the beginning of, just go a little bit further, like this part where you have more asphalt right after number 4, and you have the number 3, but the painted line there, so it's doing like a triangle. So that's where I want to brake. As you can see on slow speed, I'm already full brake a little bit before, but that will be somewhere around here, because don't use the number 4 and number 3, because those will get probably taken out during the race, so it's not a good idea to use it. So use the track when it's starting to get wider here, and when you start braking, I see I'm turning a bit, but I'll try to aim the car. I want to use this part of the track too. I don't want to stay inside the wide line of the track. I could put my right tire outside. There is still the same tarmac. It's not slippery or anything. You could use it. So as I go slowly, we'll see. I'm aiming the car straight. Now I just want to use all the track that I want to do turn 1. So I'm starting to turn the car here, because turn 1 it's a double apex. So you want to get to this first part here. So first apex, it's your sausage curve that's just in front of me, the higher one that it's there. So you'll see a lot of time in here. It will be a good indicator for your apex. So I want to hit apex here, then do a U shape for the turn 1. So I'll let the car see. I'm gonna start releasing the brake here, and then I just let the car drift a bit here. I'm still turning, but now I'm just coasting. As you can see, the car go. I just give it a little bit throttle here. It's my driving style. So just coasting, and then when you get here, the second one, that's your second apex. That's where you should be. Back full throttle, like you see, and unwind the wheel. And then you're gonna use everything on the exit. We have a little bit here. We don't have much, so everywhere in the tracks pretty much will look similar to this on the track exit. So let's go back to turn 1. We'll check it. from the top view. But not that fast. Let it drift, and then back control for those. So it's double apex that you want to use it. But if you look at the corner, you could see it. Like this part is getting flat here. So we don't want to get flat, and then you just want to do keep it round, so you'll be able to carry a lot more speed to turn one than if you're trying to keep it tight here and then trying to get there. You're gonna be late on throttle for the exit, and exit is what's important. Is there any question on turn one? So don't forget your two curve are good point for where you should be on the apex. One drift, then back on two throttle.
Michael?
Yep.
The apex. How important it is before the sausage, after the sausage, first one, second one.
To be on it.
You know what I mean?
To get
Is
the
the
apex, right?
Yeah.
How important is if you do
I mean, pretty much asking what exactly is the apex, because you know the red sausage is a good reference, but it's kind of long. So
but when you're in the inside, it doesn't seem that long. Let's go. See, you only see a little bit from the inside because it's like flat, so it's really short from the inside view. So it's like pretty much on it. When you get on the middle of it, like somewhere here, as you can see, it's going so quick from the replay. So it's not that long from the inside car, so you could aim at it to be on the apex, and you should be good. Let's go to the next corner. So next corner we have another. There's like two things. One thing that I'm using, but other drivers prefer the other thing. So what I'm using, I like to use this stuff on the right. So I'm using the pose that you see on the right, just because the corner is doing on the right. But I also have the change from gravel and sand that you have on your left. So that could be a good thing too. Those boards have less chance to be hit, but still, I prefer using something that will not be destructible during the track. So on the left, the gravel is fine, but if you have a car in front of you, you might not see it really well. So you could use something on the right that the car will not be there. The car should be here. So you have the post on the right in front of you that will be high, even if you have a car it's still gonna use. So you have some option here on what you could use for your braking reference. And we'll go here, and again my apex will be again the sausage that I'm here. I want to be close to this one here. I'm getting here. I want to get as close as possible, but I don't want to hit it. If we continue like slowly, you'll see that I will get on throttle like pretty much when the nose will get somewhere around here. Maybe a little bit later for this one. But let's go back 5 seconds. Usually sausage could be a good reference for it for this corner too. So again, use all the track on the exit that you could do, or as much as comfortable as you are. See, I'm on the curb. It is fine. It's not slippery. The slippery part will be the sand. So even for this corner, see, exit right on the edge here. And I stay on the curb for the next corner. You can stay on it. It's fine. Um, let's go check from the outside view one more time. Right here. The car roll, back on throttle. Next corner, we also have another good braking, but for this
Are
one, it
we
will be
questions or
really.
not?
Yeah, what?
So the previous corner, I'm sorry if I missed it. I apologize. Where the white was, is that where you lifted off in the corner before?
Oh no, so I'm gonna start to brake. When I brake, so you start to brake even a little bit sooner than this. Like I'm gonna start to brake here, so I'm getting close to the transition from sand to gravel. So you have on your left. I'll be letting you get full brake, like almost a little bit before when you're in the inside view.
I'm sorry, I meant the previous corner.
Turn one.
Just the previous corner you just came through to get to that point.
This one.
I think it's turn 2.
Yeah, technically you should.
Yeah,
Turn
technically that
two,
one is
but
turn 2.
yeah, turn one you don't. It's the little kink on the. So yeah, this is where I'm gonna start to brake just before the track get wider here.
Yep, I got that one. It was the next one with the curbing with the little white patch on it. After you get around this corner. That was the part I think I missed.
You don't brake for the second half. You're coasting up to it.
Oh, okay. That's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this next corner coming up, there's a curb on the left hand side. I struggle with this turn in here.
This is turn 3 then, Willie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Sorry.
what I said. It was sand and gravel that I'm using for the reference. This or the pose that is there with the look like a speaker. That's what I'm using for my braking reference here. So you can see I'll go slow. I'll start to brake, and then I'm like full brake almost when I align to it. So you start to brake a
Oh,
little bit.
wow. Okay. Yeah. Wow. That's very helpful. Thank you for going over that again. I apologize for making you repeat yourself,
Yeah, no
but that's
worries.
very helpful.
No worries.
I was way deeper when I was braking.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of coasting on this corner, so we'll go
Now
at
that
slow.
makes sense why I'm losing time. Like I could gain a lot of time there by doing that, I think.
Yeah, that corner is still tricky. Like it's easy to brake deeper for that one, so you'll need to coast a lot. So check full speed and check. We're gonna tap the brake, and I'm gonna coast for for a while.
Okay. Thank you very much. I apologize for making you repeat yourself.
Yeah. So next turn we have another great marker for braking, but it's not. You'll see. We'll go at full speed, and it's a tap of the brake. You'll see me shifting to 4 for a very short period of time. But that's just for me. It will also depend on the car, but I could keep it in third gear. But I find just for myself that I was braking too early when I was keeping in third because I hear the rev engine like revving like top, and then just by reflex I was braking a tiny bit earlier. So I was just so now what I do, and that's just for me. Like I said, I'm gonna shift to 4 like real quickly and going down to third back up. But you could probably stay in the same gear. Just let it rev for a tiny bit. It should be fine. But what I'm using, it's just in front of me. So you see at the end of the curve, we have the paint stop, the red paint, and then you have the triangle shape, the white triangle shape. That's my marker for the where I'm gonna to tap the brake for this turn. So we'll go slowly. You'll see. Check the brake input. So I'm gonna tap really quickly just to, and then I'm back. Again, we're using. If you like the reference for when getting back on throttle, the sausage again. It's really well placed for that. See, I'm gonna pass it and be full throttle. Again, use the curve on the exit. So let's go one more time, full speed, and check the speed, the tap. You will see how quick it is. So you just tap like full, I think I hit like full brake, but really short, and just tapping. So it's a really quick corner. Just need to tap it. You're probably gonna stay in the same gear, I'll guess, but I think I did it on 4. Did I went up to 4?
You tapped it with the gas all the way down to it.
Yeah,
I
well,
know
it's
you
really
like that.
short time, but that, like I said, for me.
Wow, that must have took a long time for you to master that one. That seems hard.
Yeah, and you could carry a lot of feet, and you just need some practice and get confident with your car. And so,
Just as a heads up, the exit out of turn 4 on the left-hand side can really easily pull your car off the edge of the track, so be careful there.
oh yeah, if you touch here, because you still like turn in, if you get some wheel there, try to straight up your steering to, and then bring it up nicely on the track, because you could easily spin the air. I spin many times during my practice this week here because I did a little bit too wide, and the rear tire just touch the sand and you're gone, and the wall on the other side. It's really easy on this track to spin. But this, like I said, this was on the odd lap, so I'm pushing that much close to the curve just because it's just for practice. So just show out lap. So, but in a race, I will not do that. I'll probably get on the curve, but just the beginning of it, like somewhere around here in the race, just to be safe. I'm gonna lose a little bit of time. I'm not gonna lose like a second per corner just because I get in there, but at least I will not spin and ruin my race because I spin and then I damage the car or anything, then I get a bunch of time in the pit. But for quali, you do a banker and then you could try to push as much as possible. In quali, I will definitely doing this after I get a banker on it. Then I will just push everything on the car for try to get the pole or the best position that I could. Okay, here what I'm using is the first white mark that you see on the wall on the concrete on the right. So it's like between the 2 and 3. That's my reference that I'm going to use. We'll go slowly, you'll see. There. See, almost at the car. I'm starting to brake here. Let's go slowly, and this corner, and that will be true for a couple corner through the track. There's a lot of camber, so when you have a lot of good camber, you could carry a lot of speed. Like, take a look at the camber on this one. You have a lot. So I'm gonna brake, and again, here we have a lot of camber that we could use to carry a lot more speed. So when you get back on throttle for this corner, it's a little bit late, so we're not going to use the sausage curve that we have on the left to get back full throttle because we still have a little bit too much corner to do. So what I like to do here, I'm going to keep it tight. Let's see, I could keep it tight, but I'll get back on throttle when I get to the end of this curve. So when the paint is changing, so just be the triangle, the white triangle, that's what I'm using to get back. So I'm trying to keep it really low for this corner. Try to use the camber to get me more speed. Then when I get there, now it's time to get back full throttle, because if you're going a little bit sooner, you could end up here easily. Let's take a look from the outside. See, I will keep the car low, very tight. through the corner on the curb, and then back full throttle here. So every time we have camber like that, use that as your advantage. You could probably carry more speed than you think just because of that. And the next corner is a good example of that. There's some camber on it, but it's also one of the scariest corner to do it fast on this track because as you can see
A
here,
little blind, eh?
yeah, it is blind. You don't see the apex, and it's really fast corner. See, I don't see where it's coming yet. I don't see anything yet. And I'm about to brake. I'm gonna brake just after the 2 mark, and you have the white line again between the 1 and the 2 is gonna brake. So, like here, I'm on the brake. I still don't see the apex. It's just dipped so much in front of me that I still don't see anything. So this corner, you need to practice it a lot to be able to carry a lot of speed to it. And again, it's just a tap of the brake too, and it's also a good example how I turn the car with the brake, because I'm gonna use the brake to make the car turn. Not gonna turn that much the steering wheel. So just go turn it and see. I did give it at the end when it start to dip, like give a little more twist on the steering just to get some grip, but to start the corner, you start the corner with the brakes. I'm running a low brake bias, but that's just driver's preference. So when I tap the brake here, the rear start to do a bit, and then I do this a little bit more there. Just like to do that, but it will depend on the car if you need to do it or not. It's not something required to do this corner fast. So let's watch it from the inside again, full speed, and we'll see how long I stay on the brake. So it's a little bit longer than turn 4 that we just 2 turn ago, not this one, the one before. So it's a little bit longer, not as quick of a tap, but still not a big braking zone for this one. And you can see I tap, I let the car go, and when I get to the end of the dip, that's where I'm gonna get back on throttle. So you have here, you have like a big dip. So when I'm gonna get the sausage, a good reference again here. So you want to go again as slow as possible because we are on quali lap on this. So you want to go as close as possible, but don't touch it. Don't touch this one. The other one will bump you, but this one will kill you. This one is really dangerous. That's why it's so scary that corner to try to do it fast, because I think I'm almost touching it on this lap. I feel like I'm really close already. So let's check. Yeah, they're still.
The biggest surprise about these curbs is that they're very tall on the ends.
Yes. There. Yeah.
It acts like a ramp.
Yeah, especially on this one, it will jump you on the sand over there for sure. I did it many times during this week. But when I'm practice, I don't mind. I'm gonna push as hard as I can, so I find the limit of the track. I find my limit. So then I just for the race dial up like 5%. Then for the race, I feel more confident because I know I could push it more. So then I just dial everything down a bit. So stay safe for the race. So you can see I'm just past the curb and I'm back on throttle here. And then the camber is stopping, so we're being careful here because the rear could let loose easily. So you try to carry as much speed as possible, use the track. But this is one of the plays I think on the track that could easily be a track cut. I don't know if you'll get a warning. It might be hard to get a drive-through area because you're gonna get in the sand and it will slow you down like naturally. But for a quality lap, definitely if you pass the red and white curb with your left tire, you will get an invalid lap, but you'll also probably gonna touch the sand at the same time. So in the race, it might be hard, but you also don't want to touch the sand air, and I'll show you after this. So now we're getting to the famous corkscrew, and there's one thing that I'm doing around here, and we'll see if someone could tell me what. And it's not the countersteer at the exit. Is anyone
Can you show it again, Mikael,
Sure.
please? Is it possible that you made it too much of a straight line and you didn't turn enough left and turn a lot more right, or
No.
no?
Could it be holding the brakes all the way over the crest?
Yes, it is. I think I got a bit lucky because it didn't lock the wheel much, but yes, should not hold the brake all the way on the top of the hill.
That's
So-
good to know because I noticed you did that, and I was like, "Wait a minute! I remember Larry told me not to do that 2 seasons ago."
Yeah, no. And I think I realized that I braked a tiny bit early, and that was just never mind. I'm just keeping the brake on. We'll see what happens. It worked on this time. You still hear the wheel locked a tiny bit, but yeah, that's a mistake. So we'll go and check this lap, I think.
Now remember, it's extremely tough to get this right every time, but you have to remember what's happening is as you crest the hill, the front end gets light, the tire locks up, then the rear end gets light, and the rears lock up. So you're sliding over the top of the hill.
Yeah, so it should be done like this one, I think. We'll see. If it's the lap that I think it's this one, I will touch at the exit of the next corner. I will touch a little bit of the sand, and you will see that immediately the car wants to spin. But check the brake input here. So this, it will be the correct way, in the way safer way to get the turn done. So because we're going uphill and we have a big braking zone, we're going to start to brake. So yeah, before the white. So the white's aligned with the two. You have the curb. You're going uphill. So you want to aim to stay on the right side of the curb here. So you just for taking corkscrew correctly after that. So you want to go full brake here. You stay full brake. Well, when you get to the top, you release, not all the way. Then when you're on the top, then you get back on the full brake. Just because with the weight transfer that's going on the top, if you stay full brake like I did on the other lap, it's just dangerous to lock wheel and overshoot the corner because you're gonna trigger the ABS too much and just increase your braking distance on this corner. So that's why I prefer this way. On the other lap it didn't happen. I was just carrying too much speed, but mistake happened. It was just a tiny bit later. We could check after where I brake compared to this one. But if you do a mistake, you need to try to adapt to it and try to correct it as much as possible and without losing any more time.
Okay, this braking change occurs around the number 2, that white mark, or is it a little bit after?
It's on the top of the hill.
On the very top. Okay.
Yeah. So think about it. I'm going uphill. So I'm going uphill here, full brake. But when I'm getting close to the top, the weight of the car will change place. So it's got, like Larry said, first the front will get lighter because you want to continue to go up. So you have the tire in the front the suspension will go up. because it's going down right after that, but you have the momentum to going uphill, so you're going to lose some on the front, and then the front will go down, and then the rear will lift up a bit. So that's why it's way easier to lock the brakes, because you have less force on the tire and shifting really quickly. So that's why I'm doing this. So full, but then I'm starting to release a bit, and then when I pass the top, then I give it back, everything on the front.
I usually tell the guys to remember it feels like you're going over the top of a roller coaster hill,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden you get really light in the seat and then you start to go back down.
Yeah.
This doesn't have a downhill side, but it almost flattens out. But if you can imagine like if you were to jump a ramp, your front wheels come off the ground first, then the back wheels come off the ground. But in this case, because you're braking, the car wants to tip forward, but there's a very light spot as it crests the top of the hill. So that's where the front end starts to lock, and then the rear end does the same thing. The car tips forward, and then the rear end gets light. So you have to be very careful.
Yeah. And then, so we're now back, full brake. We're continue turn the car as we go. What I want here, as you could see it on the stream, but in VR it's really easy to spot. But there's like a dip, it, just like tiny space, like only at this part, like it's dipping here. So I want to put my left tire here, and while after that, when I here, this tree is what you're aiming for. You want to aim for this tree because we don't see the corner yet. It's going down so steep that you only see at the last minute. So you aim into
You're
this tree
talking about the one to the left of the red mark on the right hand side, the flagman. You mean?
on the left
I
of
I would zoom straight into it if I were you, just to make sure.
this one.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. Because there's a flagman over here on the right.
Yeah. So on the
So
left.
the individual tree is kind of what you're looking for, so that you know you're lined up with the exits. What he's trying to tell you.
Yeah. You line up with this tree, you're gonna be good for this one. You see, it's lined up like right here, and then at this point you see the corner, and then you could turn the wheel back and do the rest of the corner. We'll go from the inside. You'll see it. So I'm gonna put my wheel right there. It's gonna grip. You see, now I still don't see the corner, the end of the corner. It's still down in front of me. I don't see anything where it is. But see the car, I'm starting.
It's like 30 feet below you.
Yeah. In VR, you see it's really steep. It is scary. I don't know how they drive there, but it's like batteries. It will be scary in real life. So I'm pretty much aligned with it. I'm gonna go just a little bit forward and see the wheel right there, pretty much in front of me. And now I know I'm in the right place to do the corner. So I'll just go a little bit further, and then I know I could start to turn the wheel, and now I see it, the bottom of the corner here. But at this part, like, and then you just back full throttle to do the rest of the corner, and then the car would just have a bunch of grit area on the front tire because it's going down, and you just stop, like the degree of going down, stopping. So corkscrew could be easy to do, but it could be hard to do it fast because it's a big blind corner. It's big, steep, and you don't really see. So use that tree. So if you're in, you know that tree is aligned with you. You know you're good, even if you don't see the rest of the track, because you miss it. Here, I think I do it. You could, even if you have TC, you could spin the car here if you do the wrong line, and then you get to the a little bit too much on the left ear, and then too much on. We'll go from the outside. You get too much here, then you could lift the rear wheel of the car and make the car spin easily here. So just be careful. Try to keep it more here. We don't want to attack too much on the green. we'll go from the outside. You'll see what I mean. Just on the curve. Don't want to push too much because you could lift the rear wheels and then you'll just hear the motor like go full rev and it could spin even if you have high TC. So just be careful on that. Is there any question for that corner? No, it's a really technical corner. It's a hard corner to do too. You don't want to see anything back. It's time.
Can you just show it from, let's say, 100 meters away and full your normal speed play? Yeah, from here perhaps.
Do you prefer the inside or the outside view?
Inside, yeah, so that we get an idea.
Okay.
Thank you.
Right. I think it was this. Okay, so exit. You exit like middle of the track. You don't want to go all the way out to the left because we have the next corner that's coming really quickly. So every time that happens in any track, we compromise this one, compromise the exit of this one, so we have a better placement for the next one and get a better exit. So we want to prioritize that because this is so close together that we don't need to go all the way left. You're not gonna have time, and then you have poor exit for the next corner. Like middle, a little bit, maybe a little bit more, but not too much. I'm gonna start, and here it's just the tap of the brake again to do this corner. There's a lot of camber on it and going downhill. So as you can see, I'm gonna start turning the car, and here I'm doing like a tap. It's not even 100% here. I just did like maybe 50%. Then I'm just coasting for a long time, and watch it back full speed. So as you can see, check the brake will go like maybe 50%. And the reason why I touch back the brake during corner like 10%, it's not like here. It's not really trail braking. It's just to align the car like to the line that I want. So I think while I was driving, I was feeling I was carrying a bit too much speed, so I was just like adjusting to get the right curve for that turn. So it was just to bring the car just a tiny bit tighter to this, I guess. So if you sometimes you'll see driver, I could sometimes touch a little bit of the throttle, touch a little bit of brake. That's just to adjust my line like a tiny bit, just another thing to steer the car a little bit for me. So just by tiny amount, but you don't need to do that right now. What you're gonna gain time is just coasting through here and get your line right, and you're just gonna coast and get back on throttle just a tiny bit before. So you can see, oh, when I'm gonna get a little bit before the sausage, like almost the beginning of the curve, right? Somewhere around here, you should be able to get fairly on full throttle around the beginning of the curve here, just because we have a lot of camber and again still continue to the track to the corner, so that's why we could carry a lot more speed. For the braking, this one I'm doing it by feel, honestly. It's not much. I don't know if someone has something, but I know for me it's just by feel. I'm start turning the car and just tap a little bit of the brake to reduce some speed.
Can we see this particular spot from behind the car?
Yeah.
and then let it roll through the corner if you don't mind. I'm looking to see how much track you're actually using. It's not as much as it could be. Obviously, you could go way, way wide, but that's just going to cause a lot of back end. The back of the car is going to want to pendulum pretty heavily through that corner.
Yeah.
So you're actually, say, 2/3 to the right.
Yeah, I don't
But
have
that's
time to go all the way
right.
here.
There's not, yeah, exactly. You're already turning as you're trying to get into the corner. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
And then you want to keep it tight to this curve. Get back on throttle soon on this one. But don't get too soon because it will just spit you out here. Okay. Second, last corner.
This corner here, I've seen a lot of people not using all of the track here, and it hurts the top speed that you can carry through the corner down into the next braking zone for the last corner.
Yeah, again, this corner, as you could already see from far away, there's a lot of camber that you could use at your advantage. All the way through the corner, and then on your exit, it's go like until here. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, this corner is extremely banked right here. This almost looks like Daytona.
Sure, it is really, really. So what I'm using here for my braking preference, just go a tiny bit. So I'm using the start or somewhere between the start of the triangle and the beginning of the red and white curve. So more or less the beginning of the triangle for me in the McLaren. But by the time I get full throttle, full on brake, I'll be like at the end. So for me, the beginning when you're going full speed, so aiming for the beginning should be good to go. So I'm gonna brake here. Let's go. I'm gonna try, because we're coming from this corner. There's still not a lot of track because we're coming so much on the right here in the corner. So I'm like, when I exit, I'm here. So there's not much time for you to get on the left, but you need to try to get as much possible on the left here so you could cut and then get your speed to that corner. So let's check. I could see I'm all the way to the right, and then I continue to go on the left here. And even I'm gonna start braking, but still like I'm start turning right, but the car is still going a little bit on the left. So I'm gonna use. I don't need to use all the curb here because, like I said, so quickly changing from right to left. I want to use as much as possible, like through the white line. That will be fine. So I'm starting to turn here, and you want to throw the car in the bottom, and again, you want to go as close as possible to the sausage that we have all the way around. And when you get to it, again, it's a good marker. See, I'm already starting to apply the throttle here when I get to the sausage curve. And then use everything that to use every inch and a little bit more, I guess, on this one. Oh. So, yeah, you could use a little bit more, not much more because I think you're the sand here, but since it was so little, it didn't cost me anything. But if it was a little bit more than that, it will have cost me some lap time. And we're getting to the last corner. So last corner, the brake marker is not as good as the other one. The number 2 is a little bit far, and that could be brake. The white paint on the concrete on the right is also a little bit far. It's aligned with the 2. But what I like to use is the entrance of the pit. So when that is going to, like when I see it from my side vision on the left. That's what I'm using for it. But if you like, use other stuff that you have on the track. I see the post is there. You have the guy what's waving the green flag there, so that could be used. Anything that could help you here, I will use it. I just like to use something on the left because I'm gonna start to look at the left soon because turn. But like I said, the green flag there could work. Or if someone have anything they would like to share.
Where you were talking about the entrance to the pit road, if you notice, there's that red marker for the speed
Oh yeah,
for
but
the pit lane.
don't count on that.
Well, no. I was talking about using the end of the tire barrier on the left, just to the right of that.
Yeah, well,
As that gets close to the edge of your windshield, you could use that as a timer too.
yeah, that's what I'm using, the edge of the tire. That's for. But I think this speed limit is non-destructible for this track because I tried to hit it on the pit exit and you cannot.
I think it's because it's behind pit line.
Possible.
It's not really on the line, it's actually behind it, so everything is ghosted after that.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Except for the walls.
Yeah, that could be it because, like, other track, I always hit the pit limiter just for fun, and this one I can hit it. But, yeah, I will not use it anymore, but you have, like I said, the tire barrier, that's what I'm using. So when I see it on my left, that's where I'm gonna start to brake. So braking here, gonna go slow. On the brake, you could use the curve on the right, that's fine. And this, I see some driver turning way too much earlier for this one. So for this one, it's like, let's go from the other side, you'll see. It's not, it's almost an hairpin, a little bit less, I will say, but so I want to enter a little bit later so I could have a better exit because that is the longest straight, even though it's not turn one is there, but we're still doing it flat. So this is, I think, the longest part of the race that we are flat on the throttle, so I want to have the best exit as possible. So let's try it. You'll see here, going to enter a bit later, and when I get to the curve again, see I'm just past the curve. If I look here, and I'm already on the throttle, I'm just going to continue to get in full throttle from here.
I'd like to point out that some of you guys are getting on the throttle way late after the apex. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because if you've done the corner successfully, meaning you've gotten it down to speed properly, you've turned in correctly, and if you've gotten close to the inner apex, as you start to see the apex clear the nose of the car, that's about the time when you start to react to adding throttle. And that'll help you rotate the car through the corner, meaning it helps the back end actually helps the car finish turning, and you should be reducing the steering angle to reduce the friction of the front tires to help you accelerate out the other side.
Yeah. So watch out from the inside. Turn the car, release the brake, pass the curb and back full throttle. And this is another place that could invalidate your lap if you go too wide. It's easy to get wide here and not touching the sand and invalidating your lap. So just be careful on the exit here. Is there any question on any part of the track that you would like to see it back or something? Anything?
Could you go through turn 10 again?
Yes. This one?
This is turn 9.
Turn
Yeah, but doesn't hurt to see it too.
Yeah, exactly. Follow through with all of it.
So, what do you want to see?
Oh, mainly just I missed seeing your line. I had something to deal with while you went through that turn. I was wanting to see like when you turn in, your kind of general line through it.
Yeah.
You need to get down as deep as you can into that particular curve because it is such a banked corner.
Yeah. There's so much grip in that corner.
Yeah, so you turn in from way up on the top of the hill and dive down into it.
You almost have to because you're carrying so much speed that the car is barely understeering, much less has just enough grip to follow it down into the bowl.
Nice.
I also
Appreciate
notice how you don't brake into the turn. You pretty much get off the brake after this curb on the left, and then coast into it. And it takes. I mean, it seems like it's going on forever.
Yeah. Yeah, coasting is really important in this game. It's really well.
Yeah, is it because that turn is cambered?
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to brake here too late because you want to be able to turn the wheels and use the steering grip. You don't want to be braking here because as you coast into the corner, think of it this way. You've turned the wheel. You've told the front wheels, hey, we want to do this much work. If you start to accelerate or you brake, you change the weight balance of the car. But because the car's going slightly downhill into the bowl and it's leaning heavily to one side, you've already got the car set up to go into the corner. Just let it do the job it's been told to do. And as you get past the apex, that's when you start to throttle up and start to reduce steering angle, and the car should just rocket out the other side.
Yeah. I have one
Yeah.
more. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's a pretty huge observation for me because, like, at this point, I would be, oh, I can either brake more into the turn or I'm not going too fast, and I would go on the throttle before the apex in my mind, like the way just like my mind works at this point. I would try to do a whole lot of stuff.
These last two corners, this one here and the one down at the bottom of the hill for turn 10, they're extremely fast corners for this small track.
Yeah.
Look at the kilometers an hour he does as he's going through 9 and 10. That's entering at 165, 167. Apex at 140. Right back to 160 again. Now watch as he brakes. He's at 190 here. So he's hauling ass. And he's just barely slowing down for this corner. Because there's so much camber here, you can carry an excessive amount of speed through it.
Yeah. One more thing before pit entry. So.
Thank you. I was going to ask you to do this.
Pit entry, the speed is here. It's not over here. It's not here. It's here before the tire. It is really soon. While you're coming out of this corner really quickly, you could go straight to the pit lane, and you need to brake soon. The braking, it's like almost like here when you get to the first angle. Not when you get here, you're gonna get way too fast. You don't gonna have time to brake until here. You'll need to practice this pit entry and pit exit. It's really important on this one. So brake. I think it's here. I will need to check other replay. Didn't go in the pit here, but I'm pretty sure it's around here. I know this is too late, for sure. It's beginning of here. And one more thing on the pit entry. While you get here, this corner you cannot do it flat on the. Even if you are on the pit limiter, you cannot do this turn flat on pit limiter. You'll need to lift to do this corner, even though you are on the pit limiter. If you try
Coasting makes this corner a lot easier.
Yeah. You'll need to do it because it is a big turn. And even if you only go with the pit limiter like 50, it's still too much for this turn. So practice pit entry because you don't want to get caught for braking too late and get drive-through or drive-through stop and go because you're carrying too much speed after the line here. So practice it. That will save your race, and practice this turn because you don't want to enter the pit and hit the tire barrier and get some damage for nothing on the pit entry. It should not happen. We have more chance to practice pit exit because when you start you're in the car and then we go off, but it's still a tricky one to do because at the end of it is so narrow. So pit line is here right after the WeatherTech bridge. So from here you could be full throttle. You stay full throttle, you stay in the pit lane. This is the pit. This is for you. This is the racetrack. Don't go there. You cannot cross the white line here. You cannot cross the green line even though there's no cars coming. You cannot cross it. You need to stay on this side of the track. If you cross it during a race, I'm guessing, I never try it, but I'm guessing the game will probably DQ you something because the pit exit is way further ahead than this. So you're gonna skip the entire turn one. So you're still going full throttle, full throttle, and you're braking. You have a reference here. It's this white line. So when you get close to this white line, you're gonna get on a brake hard. It's straight, it's narrow, and you'll do the turn
Cold
here.
tires, cold brakes, turning hard, downhill.
It's a big.
There's a whole lot of stuff against you guys here for doing this exit, so be careful.
So it's really narrow. So there's a good chance you'll be in first gear depending on the car. McLaren just don't like the first gear, but I'll be second gear, very low rev for this corner. It's really slow since it's so narrow. So you need to be careful and be careful on the exit. The exit is here. This is your exit, but if you're gonna try to exit as fast as possible. So if you go as fast as possible, you're gonna go and then you're gonna exit here. If there's no car coming, that's fine. You have time to come in back here on the racing line and get back on the left for the next corner. But if there's a car, you'll need to keep it more on the left to not go on, have a contact with another car that is coming that will be on the curb there because it's on its normal lap. So just be careful on pit exit here. There's a bunch of things that could go wrong here just because it's so narrow, and you'll be full throttle a while before getting to the corner of the pit exit.
My suggestion for those of you coming out of the pits after changing tires with cold tires and low pressure tires, you're not going to fight a guy who has hot tires through these corners. It would be best if you stayed slightly to the left. Anybody that's coming up behind you, let them go by, and then just fall in behind them and follow, because that would be so much easier than trying to drag race somebody who already has good sticky tires into a braking zone with a car that's not quite up to par yet. So do yourself a favor and just let the one side, let those cars that are already really, really running hard go and fall in behind and follow. You'd be surprised how much easier it is.
Yeah. Let's practice for this one because entry you could get damaged, exit you could just carry too much speed and cut it, and I don't know if you cut it here at the end if the game will give you something, but if not, Ilpo will probably do. Stewart will do it for sure.
If nothing else, going through the sand makes the car not steer worth a shit going through the next two corners. So if you go off track, be very careful coming back on and braking, because you can mess up turn 3 and turn 4 and turn 5 because the tires don't let go of the excess sand real quickly.
No. Anytime during the lap, if you touch the sand, be careful. It will be for a couple corner depending on how much you touch it, but yeah. It make it really slippery.
One other thing to understand too, the track itself, meaning the blacktop, is built up above the sand. So you may notice going into turn 5, or excuse me, the exit of turn 4, the road drops off a little bit on the left. You can lose the car here very easily. just going off the edge of this rumble strip, there's a ditch right here. It will pull you into the sand with no problem.
Yeah.
Now, the exit of turn 5 is very good about this same thing on the right-hand side. If you drop a tire on the exit on the right-hand side up here by the curb, this will pull you off to the right, and as you steer into it, the car all of a sudden gains grip and it flings you to the left.
Yeah.
So be very careful. There's a very large drop off here. The blacktop is probably 4 or 5 inches above the sand. So be careful. It's almost as though you're destined to fail if you touch the sand here.
Yeah. Yeah. It grips you all around the track. I spin many times because I touch it and I end up in the wall on the left. Like I did
Hey,
plenty of
Michael?
time. Yep.
On turn 7, I believe. Um. Yeah. Can you maybe explain the shifting? Is there anything we should pay attention to how we shift here? How we downshift?
Oh, you mean for the braking zone at the top of the hill here?
Yeah, because you lift a little bit on the top. Is there also like anything we should pay attention to regarding the shifting?
I don't think it's ever made a difference. You should just normally be shifting, but also don't downshift too quickly because we're already dealing with the uphill version. Plus, we're cresting the hill, and if you start to bang the gears really fast, the drivetrain has a tendency to lock up and roll and lock up and roll. So you want to do as few things as possible at the same time to keep the car from just, actually getting confused almost because you're doing so much here. He's already up to 4th gear, almost a 5th. As you brake, he's got the one downshift and then another.
And that's it.
And then obviously you want to use the higher gear to try and keep the car calm through this particular section. And obviously 1st gear would be way, way too low. The RPMs would be just maxing out and screaming. And then you'd either have to shift up or you just don't have any horsepower to push the car forward. So, using 2nd gear is better. I don't know if you could actually do it in 3rd. The car would probably be bogging down severely because if you notice where the RPM, the white line on the RPM meter is, it's in the middle. So that's the better part of the range. That's not too low, but it's also not too high. So you can you still have some to give, throttle to.
Yeah, I remember.
But I wouldn't say that changing any kind of gears would be different going up the hill, though.
Remember for the exit of corkscrew last time I did the walkthrough, I was in the Porsche, so I downshift to 1, but I was, before getting back on power here, I was back shifting on the 2nd to also prevent some wheel spin here. So I'm guessing a lot of the car might go down to 1st, but then going back on the 2nd one for the acceleration part of it. But even I did it sometimes. If I over push the corner, I'll use the 1st gear just to get a little bit more on the slow down, so to use a little bit more of engine brake and then shift back right in the 2nd. So that could happen, but that's just on the moment.
Any other questions for any place?
Do we have to keep the locals happy with our exhaust noise?
Yes. Keep it as loud as possible.
No, they fixed it.
Got it.
See?
I'm not sure that the guy's house is actually shown, but it's way, way off to the right.
They remove it. See?
He's
Crazy.
his house is just the other side of the hill, though. The guy that made such a big stink about it.
All right, 7,000 RPM, go like hell.
Exactly. Stand on it and don't let go.
Alright, if there's no other question, we'll stop here and wish you all the best for this race.
Thank you very much, sir, for all your help.
Thank you.
So is anybody heading to HOP to play, or